This is the world we live in today. It's a crazy world, but it's the world. Yeah, something like that. It is the world we live in today. And welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This is the podcast that's all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy landmines that I flop on. Today, I am going to be talking about acting. Yes, you're acting. I've been doing an awful lot of coaching lately, and it is apparent to me more than ever that so many of you are working so ridiculously hard. You're doing amazing. However, we are in need of some acting, I think awareness. Awareness is a great word. So we're going to be talking about how important your acting is to your business. And if you are having a hard time pinpointing what is not working in your business, it could be your acting. All right, let's do it.
This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica.
So, it is awesome. This is like episode 108. That is so crazy. Episode 108. It is awesome to be doing this with you guys. And like I said before, I've been doing an awful lot of coaching lately. I absolutely love it. All of you are incredible. It has been, it continues to be a dream come true for me to help all of you. And as I have been doing more and more, and especially lately, I have gotten to a point where a lot of my students and a lot of you too that I see and I watch, you're working really hard. You're working hard to produce quality audio. You are investing in your equipment. You are working hard to make sure your profiles are fine. A lot of you are starting to push content on social media. You're getting yourself on different platforms. You're emailing. You're making phone calls. You're doing all sorts of stuff to get business. And in all aspects, you are doing exactly what you should be doing. However, you are finding that there's something missing because you're not getting business. Or you are getting a little bit of business. So I want to pose two reasons for that. The first reason I'm going to say, but we're not going to talk a lot about that, but it's important to note that if you are just starting out in this business, it takes a long time. And I know you can say, well, Anthony, you've only been doing this for 2 years. That is technically true, but I've been an actor, I've been in theater, I've been around performance for over 20 years. So, there is a big difference there with me. I remember a lot of people saying, hey, you're like an overnight thing. And I'm like, well, I've been working overnight for 20 years, right? So please don't, I don't want you to think that, in 2 years, I just got it right. Okay. But the second part of this is that there is definitely an acting gap. And what I mean by that is that as you will find as you go along with this business and you meet more people, there are, and especially if you go and you watch plays, right? And you look at actors, it's interesting how we as people, I think, don't see or we're not processing how other people can make us feel on purpose. So let me get what I'm saying. So like, if you go and you listen to something and someone makes you feel a certain way and they have done it on purpose, that is a gift and a challenge, right? Because if you can make someone feel a certain way on purpose, that's acting, right? That is acting. And a lot of us don't know how to do that on a, on-call basis. We're not at that place in our craft because let's be honest, we've got a lot to do in this business, because in reality, we are running a full business, but at the same time, we're also, learning the performance side of it. People spend their entire lives working on breaking through all of the, I call it all of the, predetermined crap, and being able to be yourself, but be yourself in a heightened state. Like, how can, like, if you come to me and say, okay, I've got a script for you and I want you to tell me to, or I want you to be excited, but I want you to be yourself. Well, you might be a person who doesn't go around being excited all day, but yet what the script calls for is you to be real, meaning you to be you, but at the same time, they want you to be excited. So you have to find a way through your acting to be yourself, but be yourself as if you were excited. Be yourself as if the product that you're selling or that you're talking about is a product that you bought and you tried and you loved and you are the biggest ambassador of it, right? But they want you to be you. And that's when people say conversational read, that's really what they're talking about. They're not talking about, they just want you to be like, hey, Joe, what's going on? They're not talking about that. They're talking about they want you to be you in the context of the emotions that they want you to get across. In order for you to do that effectively, you've got to be able to act. Like, it's not, what I mean? And if you feel like you are putting in the work, meaning you are, you're putting in tons of work on Fiverr, you're trying to get this right. You're like, Guy Anthony's always on me about my Fiverr account. I got to do this. You're working hard on that. Then you also are putting out new content, meaning like, you're recording new stuff. You're constantly putting out stuff on social media. You're bringing awareness to yourself, visibility to yourself, right? Because we do live in a world where if you're not visible, meaning if people don't see you, no one's going to give you business. And that's a challenge within itself, right? But the point is that you're doing all these things and you're still not getting business. Or like, Anthony's checked out my Fiverr account and he's giving me the green light. Why am I not getting business? I'm telling you, you need to take a step back and reevaluate your acting. I reevaluate my acting all the time because there are moments where, I see something and I'm doing something and I get stuck. And what I mean by that is, let's say like one day I'm doing all these things where people want me to be, super emotional and build tension through my voice, and so I do that. And then the next day, people want me to be, like motivational and upbeat, but upbeat in a motivational preacher style way, but more of like in a millennial style preacher way. You know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I mean? Where we have these, we've become YouTube, what is it called? Like, I'm making this up as I go here. What the name of this is, because I'm just making up a name, but it's like YouTube enthusiasm. Where people on YouTube, where we see these speeches that are put on YouTube by these great orators, and people want that. They see it and they want us to do that in some things. So then somebody comes to me and they say, Anthony, I want you to do this. Well, I just got done doing this a bunch and I got, so now I've got to switch and completely do a different style of acting, meaning like the way I say my words is different. The way I pause in certain places are different. The way I use the pitch in my voice is different. Everything it's different, but yet they still want me to be me. That, my friends, is our challenge, and that is our greatest path to victory. Because I've always said, and I believe this to the bottom of my heart, if you got it going on with your acting and you start getting yourself out there, you will be found. Because people are always looking for people that generate emotion and generate feelings and generate something in us in a world where we are just numb. Because you know that, right? We are, with social media and everything, we are just numb. We are numb to it all. And if we can find someone or something that makes us feel, my gosh, we latch on to that. We raise it up, we raise them up, we give them whatever they want because they are giving us life again. And for us as performers, we are poised in a position of time to be those people. But if you're not diving in to the very act of pushing yourself to do this, you're losing and you're leaving a lot on the table. Listen, we go up against all sorts of people. I've been doing a lot lately about branding and visibility and how do you get people to trust you in the day of scamming. And heck, on Fiverr, if someone messages you and said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you on the phone," we're like, hit the scam button. Yes. And I will say that that's really true. But is that crazy? If you think about that, that's crazy, right? Someone wants to talk to you and we're like, scammer. We live in a world that is completely different and upside down. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's not okay. Sometimes it's okay for you to do this. Sometimes it's not okay for you to do this. Sometimes it's okay for you to say this word. Sometimes it's not okay for you to say this word. It can be so confusing. Our job is to be able to do all of that, to express all of that. And if you are at a place where you are just beginning, or you are trying to, or you are at a place where you feel like, okay, I've got my gear, I can produce a great product. I'm on the platforms, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, where's the work? What do I do now? Okay, yeah, I can go on to Buyer's Request and do a whole bunch more Buyer's Requests, but nothing seems to be happening. Why is it that Sally and Jill got all these orders from the Buyer's Request, yet I know I've done quadruple the amount they've done, and I'm not getting anything? What is the deal? Well, you can sit back and say, well, it's the timing. Maybe it's right now. Maybe the way my presentation isn't as good as theirs. But if you are not honestly looking at your acting, and I would even go further to say your expression, how you motivate people. And I'm talking about everything, guys. I know that there's times where you're like, Anthony, I'm reading an e-learning project for this company talking about SaaS. How in the world am I supposed to make that interesting? It's the most boring topic in the world. I'm tired of the CISO. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. I've done so many of those books. I probably know more about CISOs and SaaS and cybersecurity than anyone human should know about who has nothing to do with an industry. But Lord knows I know about it. But the point is that even with that, it is our job to entertain, to make people feel something. Even when you're educating, if you don't educate people in a way where they feel something, you are losing out. Okay? Our feelings, our emotional intelligence is 900 times stronger than our logic. We know this. That's why we know when we get mad or we get like we're out of control. We can't think logically. All right? We will jump off the side of a cliff before we will say, wait, that's just not the smart option. We will. I'm right. So I'm getting at here is that now you're here and you want to get business. You want to get more business. You've done all these things. Now we need to look at your acting. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to start listening. I want you to listen to other performers. I want you to watch documentaries and then ask yourself, how do they do that? Why do they sound like, why does that make me feel that way? Why do I watch a movie and I get teared up? What is the actor actually doing? Listen to commercials. Watch videos and listen and dissect. Try to figure out why that's happening. There's cadences, you guys. There's all sorts of ways to, we're talking pitch, breaths, speed. All of these things that, yes, can be, wrote out, I guess, written out in like a formula if you want it that way. All right. And some people do very well by approaching it in that manner, to know that, okay, this is an emotional piece that's supposed to be a TV ad. They want me to read it low and slow. I've got that figured out. I already know how I do low and slow. Go. But then other people are like, okay, they see it and they feel it. It doesn't matter how you do it. I love an old story. I don't know if you know these people, Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier. Of course, Laurence Olivier is dead, but he is considered the greatest actor of the 20th century, and a Shakespearean actor, and just incredible guy. And of course, we all know Dustin Hoffman. And there's a story about Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier was on a set of Tootsie, and Dustin Hoffman was there, and he'd come in and he looked like crap. Dustin Hoffman just looked awful. And Laurence Olivier said, you know what? He said, good Lord, man, what is wrong with you? You look like crap. And Hoffman's like, well, I've been staying up, not, I'm not getting much sleep. I'm really getting into this role because I'm supposed to be, for this next thing happen, I'm supposed to be living on the street. I'm trying to learn how to be a bum. So like, I'm not sleeping. I don't sleep in the bed. I've been living in the street. And Laurence Olivier looked at him and he said, what is wrong with you? And the guy, and Hoffman's like, listen, I'm learning, I'm being an actor. Or he said, I'm trying to get into this role. And Laurence Olivier said, why the hell are you doing that? Just act. He told him, why don't you just act? Some people act out of sheer knowledge of what they're doing. Other people feel what they're doing. The point to all of this is you need to figure out what works for you. If you don't intuitively feel something, that's fine. Work it out on how you can imitate. Do not forget this. Acting is imitating. I'm not saying you're impersonating, you're imitating. You're imitating emotion. Because the reality is, if I come to you with a script and I say, I need you to be super excited, and you're like, dude, I feel like crap, but I'm going to do this piece because this is my job and that's what I do. Okay, well, that's acting, because you're going to have to make me believe that you are excited. So that's the whole point here, right? We got to make people believe us. And if you're not making people believe you, you are losing out, because if you're not making people believe, they're not going to hire you. You can take away all the gear. You can take away all the great sounding stuff. You can take away all the fancy equipment, all the profiles, all the coaching, everything that anybody, including myself, has told you about logistics and SEO and all this stuff. But in the end, all anyone ever wants to be is moved. They want to feel. That is your number one job, is to make people feel something. If you can make people feel something, the world is your oyster. Because people will pay you and do anything for you just to get you to make them feel something again. Think about it. Think about all the people in time that you respect or that you like to listen to. All right, the people that move you, right? Those are the people that we want to be around. Those are the people we want to learn from. The people that make us feel something, that inspire us. That's the career we have taken, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing. We are the people that are supposed to inspire. We are the people that are supposed to move with emotion. Now listen, you might have a sweet spot, like something that you do really well. That's great. I'm not saying that everybody is going to be some crazy character actor or some, crazy, Attenborough, documentary person, or, some crazy person that every time you listen to them, they make you cry. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it is your job to be able to express emotion. And if you have a feeling right now that your expression of emotion sucks, meaning that when you approach something, you literally have no clue, or you feel nothing, or you still are just confused about how you should even say it. Or you have like one size fits all kind of VO. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm gonna do my thing. This is my thing. This is what I do. You get what you get. You'll take it or leave it. That's okay if you want to live that way, but you're not gonna be successful. Not in our world today. You've got to be able to move people. All right, so that's my spiel for episode 108. I hope this really helps. And I hope if you find yourself in that position where you feel like you really want to expand on your acting, the first place before you go out and purchase or buy, spend money on a coach or do whatever, the first thing you need to do is you need to start to listen to other actors, other performances. The best way to learn is to listen and watch. That's the best way to learn. All right? Go watch plays. And you know what? You can watch them all on YouTube. Go listen to commercials. Listen. Dissect. Ask yourself how. Try to copy it. Try to imitate the emotion. How would you do it? Remember, this is also performance. You are an actor. All right. I'm going to leave you with that, actors and actresses. You guys have a wonderful day. I will talk to you soon. Peace.